Ready? Ready again. My hair okay? Am I handsome? Oh, handsome. I'm ready. Digital media is one of the broadest bits of media that we have today. For young people and old together, everybody relies on some aspect of digital media for either information or entertainment. Well, for our course, and for most visual art courses, it's always, the best practice is to always show and do, and then look at what you've done and do it again. So the process, the digital process, is often more about iterations, about doing it once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, make it better each time. And so the way we proceed has been simply to show and to a limited extent to do. But for a full course, you would want to do much more, many more repetitions or many more iterations. Job prospects in this area are very competitive because it's not only a big medium, but it's a growing medium. And so what makes it competitive is that there's lots of people that want to be part of this because it's so exciting. But the medium itself can be very complex. And as it becomes more complex, it then gives more value to the students that know more about the actual tools as well as the process. My experience in America has been mostly around from my time as the chair of the School of Visual Arts. And at the School of Visual Arts, everything we did was production. And so no matter what level you were in terms of first year, second year, third or fourth, you were always involved in making things. And so it was always important that students created at least portfolio level quality work. So I think my understanding now is that I think we did much more production ready classes than theory classes. And so I think the biggest difference is what I see in China is generally more theory and less production. So I think the balance for both could be to the middle. So actually SVA could do more theory and the Chinese schools in Hubei could do more production. Of course, is a big issue in our medium, and so I would put 2 points on this. One is that software can change all the time, and so but today software seems to be more consistent every year than not, and so software like applications like anything from Adobe Photoshop, Illustrator, After Effects, any of those applications are always valuable. But more powerful applications for compositing like Nuke and for effects, Houdini and Maya are all applications that are more specialized. Because they're more specialized, if you know them, you have many more opportunities. That said, I think there's no escaping that as an artist, you are obliged to either, and required in many ways, to do more than just be a software person. It's as critical to be a person that can draw or write or speak clearly. And so many of the things we do as an artist are first dependent on software, but you don't have a career based on software. You only have a career based on your strength as an artist. Yeah, what's similar about doing animation and doing film production is that there are 3 primary parts of the actual creating. And it's pre-production, it's production, and it's post-production. And so for film and for animation, each one of those areas is of equal importance. If you do weak pre-production, your production's hurt. If your production hurts, your post-production hurts. And so the more you do all three well, the more successful you are either as an animator or a filmmaker. Digital media, for me, has always been a matter of the most exciting of all media. So even for me as a kid, I loved visual effects or special effects, physical effects. And then as digital media started getting more robust and more popular, then I really fell in love with the idea of visual effects and great movies full of visual effects. And I still, to this day, love visual effects. So my passion for this media has always been very excited and very much about the entertainment industry. What I've learned as I've been in this industry longer and longer is that there's more to do in this industry than almost any that I've seen. So my interest began as part of the entertainment industry. And now I see great amounts of use for it for the scientific industry. And I believe that as we move steps further, especially through areas of 5G, this becomes immersive in a very powerful way. The work we like to see at SVA, especially for computer art and visual effects, it might surprise you that what we want to see is your drawing. So we almost exclusively judge you or assess your skills by your drawing skills first. And the reason for that is that we feel that as you're working on a computer, you have to give great amounts of time sitting at a computer terminal or a keyboard or a mouse and tablet. And the skills that it takes and the temperament that it takes to do the best work are exactly the same skills and exactly the same temperament that it takes to draw. You can draw and then you can find this moment where you've drawn for hours and you've finished a drawing. And with digital media, you can sit at a tablet and you can draw for hours. And it's the same process of essentially suspension of time that works so successfully. So we always look for drawing first, then everything else. Yes, the application process for most graduate schools in the United States are very similar. It's always first and foremost portfolio, no matter what kind of portfolio. Secondly, it's grades, the grades you have. But I have to say, one of the things that is a real hurdle is the English proficiency tests. And so for all graduate schools in America, everybody's very concerned about your expertise or a student's expertise in speaking English. And that becomes quite a big hurdle, but that is, the schools are concerned about that so that you can fully participate in your education and not have to work through the English language skills. So in America, when you're working as a student first, you don't have too many copyright issues, because if you're working for a student project, then many copyright laws don't apply. If you try to distribute the film then for money or for commercial, then copyright laws do apply. So with most student pieces, they are distributed free of charge, which means you don't have to apply too many of the copyright restrictions. Many of the projects that are completed in schools like SVA are collaborative projects. And so students will work as small groups or small teams as small production teams that are very similar to many of the same responsibilities that you would have in a commercial film. Yes, in our class this month in HUBEI, we've been seeing many films, but I wish actually we could see twice as many films. So it's been interesting that for me to show many of the classic American films, and especially it was quite fun to use Orson Welles' Citizen Kane as a discussion point. I think film history is critical, and I think the one thing that I would do if I was to return is that I wish I could do as much in animation history as I was able to do in film history. But I really believe this is a visual medium, and you really have to know these films. But there's thousands of films to see, so we could do this for a long time. So what I hope for is that my students have a thirst, a want to see more films. I think HUBEI Institute of Fine Art is on the right track with the digital media program. I think the challenge for all programs like this are that there really are three areas of expertise. And again, it's pre-production, production, and post-production. And I think any two of those is enough to make you a very powerful and successful artist. I don't know if anybody, or it's rare that anybody can do all three of those. So, but I believe that the more you're involved in each aspect of production, pre-production, production, and post-production, the more you can be involved in each of those, the more successful you'll be as an artist, and the more you'll understand the total of the medium. And I think that's where HUBEI has a great advantage, is that as we see smaller productions, everybody's involved in pre-production, the production, and ultimately the post-production. There's more to do on post-production, and I think one of the areas that I see room for is more title design and more graphic design. And so the area of motion graphics is something that's something that could help the students participate in all aspects of the production. Graduating students really have a number of options. One is to go into the industry as an employee. And if you have the option of working, it's always the best place to learn. So if you can work, you can always learn more by just simply having a job. But jobs are hard to get as you're a graduating student. So sometimes you can just get internships. And an internship is an unpaid position, but it can still be more valuable than more education, because an internship still puts you around the environment, the work environment. So you can still learn a tremendous amount. But I think in many ways, the most valuable thing you can do is to still go on for more studies, more graduate studies, if you can find a program that will allow you to learn the most. So I think I see many of my students in America will go immediately into the industry, sometimes as full-time employees, sometimes as interns. And I encourage them to do that. But for many, they will find ultimately, after they've been in the industry for 1 or 2 years, that they then will go back to college and get an advanced degree. I might add, if I may, that the ideas of advanced degrees in America are not as valuable, not considered as valuable as advanced degrees in China. So in China, it appears that many people get not only master's degrees, but they get PhDs. So the educational system here in China seems to encourage that it's more important to have a master's degree, and it's more important to have a PhD in some cases. That's something to really keep in mind, because you may, in the future, somebody may judge you based on the level of education you've reached.